Hey everyone, it's Aesah, and welcome to my guide on Exotech items. Exotech is a new trait in set 14 that will give you 7 unique items. It's a 357 breakpoint. It's similar to Academy from the previous set, um, except the items it'll give you are special Exotech items. So in this video, I'm going to go over them. Um, it's still really early in PvE, so I'm not super confident, but I'll go ahead and talk about what I think of these. So CLE made this graphic for me, which is really cool. But basically, here are the 7 items. You'll get one of them at 3 Exotech, another one at 5, and another one at 7. You will get stats in addition to another item, because of course Academy last set was a 3-4-5 breakpoint, so you're having to invest 2 more units instead of 1 more unit for an extra item. But you'll also get HP and attack speed for all your Exotech units as well. Um, but yeah, I'll just go through all these and kind of talk about them. The most important thing to pay attention to is the base stats of the item. Uh, because if we just look at Pulse Stabilizer, if you just kind of read the description, it seems like it could be fine on AP units. However, a lot of the power budget is at this 25 AD. These Exotech items are probably somewhere in between a craftable and an artifact, which are already fairly close in terms of power. Uh, so an Exotech is slightly stronger than a craftable. So basically, if this pulse stabilizer were to only give AD, it would probably give you about 75, meaning about 1/3 of the item's power budget is in the AD. So if you're using this on an AP unit, you're only getting like 2/3 of the item power budget, which would be really bad. So you definitely want this on an AD unit. The recommended users I think they gave are generally pretty good. Uh, but yeah, Jin or Zeri are going to be ideal with this. And this is basically just an Infinity Edge. It does say if the holder's ability can already critically strike, you get 10% crit strike damage instead. So this is like if you already have Infinity Edge, you'll get like a little compensation here with this extra 10% crit damage. But that's kind of what it is. It's just a little compensation, so it doesn't like feel too bad. It's a lot weaker than just getting the abilities critically strikes to begin with. So you really don't want to. You really don't want this unless um, you really don't want to have Infinity Edge along with this. Obviously, if you have to have both of them together, then it is what it is. I guess I'll talk about all the DPS ones first. Flux Capacitor, this one, I think this is probably the best one you can have for Zeri. I'm not entirely sure how it works with her clones, but either way, Zeri's a rapid fire unit, attacks really fast. Let's say she's hitting like a 2000 HP target, then the charge deals 300 every 4 attacks, so 300 divided by 4 is basically similar to doing 75 every attack. That is quite a lot. That's pretty comparable to Wit's End. Also, the stats on it are very good. 25% attack speed is extremely good. The only craftable that gives you more is, I guess, besides Nashers, is Red Buff, which gives you, I think, 36% attack speed. So it's already like 2/3 in just the attack speed, but it also gives you a decent bit of AD, and of course, again, the effect, which um, is just quite a lot of damage. So Flux Capacitor, I think, uh, definitely lean towards Zeri if this is your first Exotech item. Another thing I mentioned, or forgot to mention earlier, probably should have, is you can check the Exotech item before the game starts just by putting one of these units, any one of them, in your team planner and hovering over the trait. So you can see what your item is, and it will be the same for all the players in the game, I believe. At least that's how it was for Ink Shadow, which was a really similar trait. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think that would be the case. Yeah, Flux Capacitor, really good for Zeri. Hyper Fades, this seems okay. The effect is actually really good, but I think part of the problem is the base stats here. Whereas you're using kind of like all of these stats, Hyperphase only gives just a little bit more AD and no attack speed. This 25% attack speed again is probably more than half the value of this entire item, or close to half. So Hyperphase, you're just losing too many base stats. You really want to use the Omnivamp, so I think Hyperphase is probably only good if you're carrying 3-star Nefiri, who can take advantage of the Omnivamp. Your backliners don't care that much about Omnivamp. The last DPS item is Hollow Bow. Uh, Same thing here. I think this is not that great for Zeri just because of 20 AP and 15 mana. These components of this item, a lot of the value is invested in these stats, and it just makes it not that good. So I think Hollow Bow is only good for 3-star Varus. Um, if you have to put on Zeri, it's okay. She has a tiny bit of AP scaling, but it's not really that much. So yeah, I guess this would be best on AP Varus, but I think it'd be pretty bad if you have to use on Zeri. So for the tank items, Repulsor Lantern and Chassis both give HP. Between the two of these, I think Chassis is better. Repulsor Lantern gives a lot more base stats to make up for it, but Chassis only needs to proc one time for it to like make up in terms of the HP difference. If you assume this unit survives, let's just say it procs twice on a 2000 HP unit, that's already like 500 more HP. Five A 200 HP unit would be like 240. So that'd be like 700. Shields are also more effective, and it I think when it says siphon from current target, that's implied it does that much damage. So I think the damage is not quite as much as Repulsor Lantern. Um, but really, you just care more about the defensive stats because the flat damage that both of these items deal is probably not going to be as important when you have a 3-star carry responsible for kind of multiplicatively scaling all that damage together. So I think Lantern or Chassis are going to be pretty close. I think Chassis is better if you could get the 21-second breakpoint instead of the 14-second breakpoint. Yeah. Honestly, I think all three of these tank items are pretty interchangeable. Recoil is better on a unit that can kind of tag multiple targets. But either way, it needs to be in front of your main carry is very, very important because you need to mark the unit on the enemy team taking the most damage. And yeah, it'll just give resists. So relative to the other items, resists are a little bit better on Mordekaiser, who's Bruiser. Less valuable on like Sejuani and Jax, who are Bastions. So you want to diversify your stats. Mordekaiser's ability also shields himself, so this is a little bit better on Mordekaiser. But overall, I would say the tank items are all fairly interchangeable. You just want to put whichever you get on your strongest tank. Chassis also has some more synergy with Mordekaiser specifically, as his ability shields himself, and he can often get multiple casts off if you're using him as a primary tank going for 3-star Mordekaiser. That's going to wrap it up for this video on the Exotech items. If you have any questions, let me know in the Discord, and thanks for watching.